This is the Gerry Callahan Show.
So we have a new litmus test. If you want to be mayor of New York's biggest city, we don't need to just hear your policies on taxes and crime and what you're going to do about climate change or what you're going to do about ICE agents in your city. Those are all important things that they brought up in the debate last night between Andrew Cuomo, Curtis Sliwa, and Zoran Mamdani, the commie Mamdani. But now, if you want to be mayor of New York City, you have to be able to name a mosque. Name your favorite mosque. You used to get those questions at the end of debates, who's your favorite team? Actually, they asked that last night. They asked them, would they prefer to watch the Yankees or the Knicks or something? And it was, it was stupid. The whole debate was stupid. It wasn't a debate, as I've said many times. They did not let the candidates debate. They did not let them go at each other. These moderators were there to protect Mamdani and to take control and interrupt constantly. But anyway, Mamdani survived. He didn't win because he can't win a debate when you have the worst policies that any candidates ever have. When you're a commie who wants to defund the police, who wants to stop ICE from arresting criminals, who wants to open up Rikers and let everybody go. That's where the next mayor stands. But this was a remarkable moment, and it was telling when you think about it. You have a devout Muslim who will not condemn Hamas, who will not denounce people who say globalize the intifada, who wants to arrest Benjamin Netanyahu when he comes to New York. This is the most radical candidate we've ever seen at any level in this country, and he's going to win. He's up like 17 points. It's not even close. This debate didn't even matter. All the brainless little wokesters in New York are going to vote for him. All the childless cat ladies in the Upper East Side. And yes, all the Muslims, more than 1 million of them, are mobilized. They're energized. They're going to get out and vote, get their family members to vote, and they're going to install a radical Islamist as the next mayor of New York City, 24 years after 9/11. Yes, we forgot. That's who's going to be mayor. New York is going to be London. It is going to be frightening what happens to New York in the next few years. But this moment tells you a lot. Mamdani goes on the attack against Cuomo, who is pathetic. It is all the fault of the New York Democrat Party. This is the best they could come up with. This corrupt pervert who was run out of the governor's mansion for killing, well, actually not for killing all the old people during COVID, for getting a little handsy with his aides. But he's awful. He's the worst. And he's the only alternative we have. I like Curtis Sliwa. He was good. He was funny. But he has no chance. He's a Republican. Can't have a Republican in New York City. You got to have a communist. And he's going, he doesn't even have to debate. Mamdani could say, no, I don't want to debate. And he will win. He will win. He will be mayor. He will destroy our biggest city. But this moment here tells you so much. I know he's playing both sides of the fence. I know he wants to be the radical leftist who wants to cater to the LGBT community, who wants to make sex work legal, who wants to decriminalize drugs. That's all a fraud. What he really is a jihadist. He really is a committed Muslim who wants to, you watch, everyone in his staff, everyone. He will be in control of 300,000 employees, city employees. $1 billion budget, and he will staff the mayor's office with like-minded Muslims, and they will make their presence known. They will not, as we've said many times, they have no interest in assimilating. They want to control City Hall and control this city. And we are in for some dark times. But here's the question he throws at Cuomo as if it's a gotcha question. Can you name a mosque? And Cuomo's like, what? Why do I have to name a mosque? But that's the new litmus test. If you want to be mayor of our biggest city, have you been to any mosques? Why should Cuomo go to a mosque? He's not Muslim. Why should he be able to name a mosque? What does that matter? Well, it matters to Mamdani because that's his base. That's who he's catering to. That's who's going to get him elected. When you have over 1 million people, hell, fewer than 20% of the city is going to vote. But you better believe all those mosques, all those Muslim neighborhoods, they are going to rally around this guy. They are going to show up. They are going to vote, and they're going to get everyone in their world to vote, put him over the top, put him in the mayor's office. And Democrats are like, yeah, he's a Democrat. I mean, Kathy Hochul endorsed him. All the Democrats on CNN, MSNBC, they treat it like we're talking about just another Democrat when they know that's not true. They know he's as radical as anyone was ever seen. We know he said the ultimate goal is to seize the means of production. We know he wants government-owned grocery stores and free everything for everyone, and he's going to pay it all by taxing the rich. Isn't that a novel idea? The rich who can leave, the rich who will leave, who are leaving, the businesses who will leave. We'll get to his solution to, the way he's going to pay for all the free stuff. But let's get to this moment because, again, I think this is so significant. This is the way he thinks. You don't go to mosque? You can't name them. You can't tell me your favorite mosque? Why? And you want to be mayor? Can he name his favorite synagogue? Can he name his favorite Hindu temple or Presbyterian church? Why is it a requirement of the next mayor to go to mosque? How did we get here? Listen to this.
Two totally separate things.
Mr. Mamdani, want to respond?
It took Andrew Cuomo being beaten by a Muslim candidate in the Democratic primary for him to set foot in a mosque. He had more than 10 years, and he couldn't name a single mosque at the last debate we had that he visited. And what Muslims want in this city is what every community wants and deserves. They want equality, and they want respect. And it took me to get you to even see those Muslims as part of this city. And that, frankly, is something that is shameful and is why so many New Yorkers have lost faith in this politics.
Yeah, except that is totally false. I worked with the Muslim community for many years.
Name a single mosque you went to when you were the governor. Can you name a single mosque you went to in 10 years?
Before you were ever here.
Before I was here.
Before you were even in state government. I worked with the Muslim community. Yeah. Imams presided over State of the States. We worked in religious working groups, tolerance groups, anti-Semitic groups, etc.
All right, gentlemen. Mr. Stewart.
That smarmy smile. God, he is repulsive. And they're both repulsive. I can't stand Andrew Cuomo. But that's supposed to matter? That he didn't visit a mosque? That he can't name a mosque? Why? Why does that matter? Who cares? I can't name a mosque. I mean, I haven't visited a mosque. What? Why is that required for the mayor of New York City? And of course, Cuomo, being the pathetic squish that he is, oh yeah, I worked with imams. I before you were around, I was pandering to Muslim leaders. Why? Whatever happened to, where we're going to leave religion out of this? But no, this is them not looking to assimilate, not looking to fit in and just be part of this great American experiment. No, we want to bring our world, our way of life, and we want to force it on you. And that's what you're going to get. You are going to get, and we've seen plenty of videos and scenes from New York and from London and Paris and Sweden. It's coming to New York. It's coming to New York. The Hamas fans like this guy, like this radical lunatic who will not condemn Hamas, who will not say Hamas should put down their arms, who wants to disarm New York taxpayers. but not Hamas. That guy is going to bring radical change to New York City, and it ain't good. And of course, he's got to play both sides again. He's got to cater to the Muslim fanatics at the same time that he wants to celebrate, drag queens and spend millions on sex changes for kids and legalize sex work. That guy, and clearly the Muslim leaders, the imams, they're not on board with that, but they don't care. They want to get him elected. That's how he gets elected, by at the same time pandering to the wokesters, to the radical left, and the religious leaders of his community. He's done it. He's pulled it off because, again, his base, they don't care. They just want him in there. They just want to take over City Hall. So he goes on his little wish list of goodies, free everything, free buses, free daycare, free everything for everyone in New York City. City-owned grocery stores, which will be affordable. Sure they will. And he's asked by one of the moderators, how do you pay for all this? Free buses. That will be such a disaster. Again, the subway is one thing. You see a lot of homeless on the subway. You're going to see them on the buses now because it's free. They're going to just hop on, and it's going to be a disaster. Forget the fact that it's going to cost the city billions. It's going to destroy the bus system. It's going that's going to be a moving homeless encampment around the city. But here's how he's going to pay for everything. Again, it doesn't matter because his base, his core constituents are morons. They're brainless lemmings who say, oh, he's going to make life more affordable for me. Yeah, I'll be able to buy groceries and the rent will be stabilized and everything will be wonderful. It's hard to believe this is happening in this country, in our biggest, most important city, but it is. Listen to this. Listen to this slick, this hoaxer, this flim-flam man explain how he's going to pay for all his programs. Go ahead.
But the question is how you'll make them free.
We will fund the revenue that would have otherwise been brought in from fares. And that's something that we would do in partnership with Albany. And I've put forward two proposals. The first is to raise taxes on the top 1% of New Yorkers by 2%. That would raise $4 billion. The second is to raise the state's top corporate tax rate to match that of New Jersey, which would raise $5 billion.
We're going to.
Okay, what do the top tax rate, what do the wealthy, what do they do when you raise their taxes by 2%? What do the corporations do when you raise their corporate tax by 3 or 4%? What happens then, genius? Do they just say, it's such a good thing. Let's all have free buses and free childcare. Let's just give them our money. Or do they say, you know what I'm going to do? I'm finally going to do what I've been thinking about doing. I'm moving to Miami. I'm moving to Naples, or I'm moving to New Jersey or Connecticut or Tennessee or somewhere else. This isn't federal. At the federal level, Democrats can do this. They can raise taxes and people have no choice. This is a local tax, city tax that they can avoid really easily. You know how easy it is for a rich person to move? Well, they're moving now and they're going to continue moving. And New Yorkers had better be prepared. It is going to just blow up in his face, and he'll smile and he'll go through all his talking points because he's slick. He's perfect for the Muslim fanatics and the crazy wokesters because he can articulate well. And his only opponents are two old guys that people have rejected in the past. So he's in. He's your mayor, and he says he's going to do all these wonderful things: cashless bail. He wants to close Rikers Island. He wants to not cooperate with ICE, who are getting violent gang members out of the city. He wants social workers to respond to domestic violence cases. That ought to work. And of course, he wants to defund the New York Police Department. Why? Because they're anti-queer. Again, you think a lot of imams are on board with that? They want to defund the police because they're anti-queer and racist. He has flipped on that. and changed his mind, said, oh, no, I don't want to defund the police. Here's just a sampling of him saying over and over again that the NYPD are the bad guys and he wants to defund them. How is that going to work in New York City? It is amazing. You get the Trump administration doing everything they can to get criminals out of the city, to lock up bad guys and make our cities safe. And our biggest city is going to elect the guy who hates the NYPD and wants to defund. Look at that, one after another. Defend, defund, and dismantle the New York Police Department. We need to defund the police, he flat out says in his own words. Defund the police, one after another. Defund, defund, defund. And then he goes on stage or goes on Fox News. Look at that, one after another. We need to defund, defund. In New York City, 90% of office holders are Democrats, yet they refuse to defund the cops who murder with impunity. Hard to believe people walking the streets of New York or taking the subway or taking the bus want this guy. They want this. They're going to vote to defund the police. He's a liar. He's changed his tune just to get elected, but he has a real animus toward the cops. He hates the cops. And you're going to see, obviously, demonstrations, riots, uprisings, Hamas flags, America, death to America chants. And you just know that the mayor is on their side. The mayor is on the side of the anarchists, of the radical Muslims who want to take over the biggest city. And this is a big step. God, it is hard to believe. It is scary, but it's happening. In 18 days, he's going to win. There's going to be a huge crowd of radical Muslims along with radical wokesters all gathered around celebrating the demise of our biggest city. And there's no stopping him. It doesn't matter if Curtis Sliwa withdraws or Cuomo quits. He's in. Democrats did this. They elected in their primary this radical lunatic, this dangerous man, and there's no stopping him. And we'll just have to sit back and watch as New York devolves into chaos and anarchy and crime and the mass exodus of people. The makers are leaving, the takers are staying. The people who make the city run are going to get the hell out. And you just know right now they're all planning. Right now on Wall Street, all the people who are making the money and paying the taxes, they're online right now. They're looking at property in Florida or wherever, and they're getting out because he's coming in. Scary times in New York City. All right, we got so much to get to on this Friday. We got another one. We got another retribution arrest, another revenge, another victim in Donald Trump's revenge tour. And I'll just say this, I love it. John Bolton has a couple of big problems. He was indicted. He turned himself in this morning. Here he is showing up at court. And I just have to ask again, where are the leg irons? Where are the handcuffs? Where's the jumpsuit? Where are the 29 armed agents raiding his home at 6 a.m.? I mean, this is good that we're finally getting accountability, that we're finally getting justice, but it's still two-tiered, man. It's still two ways of doing this. He gets to show up with his lawyer, all dressed in his suit and tie, where Peter Navarro got shackled at the airport, where Roger Stone had his home invaded at 6 a.m. with 29 armed FBI agents and a CNN camera crew. Why don't they get treated the same? Why? I'll never understand that, but it's good because here's the problem Bolton has. When Comey got indicted, when Letitia James got indicted by liberal grand juries, the media could immediately jump on it and say the media did defend him. They love Comey. They know he's corrupt. They know he's a liar. They see on video him lying under oath. They know Letitia James is absolutely guilty as hell who's not only committing mortgage fraud, but harboring fugitives. By the way, did you see the latest on her other property in Virginia? There's a OnlyFans model, an OnlyFans hooker living in her home. In the other home we talked about that she allegedly lives in, she's got her grandniece, who's just a career criminal and a fugitive living there. So Letitia James is in big, big trouble. But at least for Letitia James and Cuomo and Comey, they're Democrats. So they know the media will have their back. They know they'll bring out all these analysts and experts to say this is just revenge, because they're Democrats and they'll always defend the Democrat. This guy's not a Democrat. He worked for Trump. He's been a swamp creature, a Republican for decades. So there's not a lot of defenders for John Bolton, and he's guilty as hell. It's hard to believe a guy like this has gone on camera over and over again to gloat when Trump got arrested, to explain how Trump was in big trouble for taking classified documents to Mar-a-Lago when he knew what he had done. This indictment is just so damning. He was charged with 18 counts, 8 counts of transmission of national defense information, 10 counts of retention of national defense information. He wrote a book, and the book is called In the Room Where It Happened. He literally was bragging about being in the room where big classified meetings were held with Trump, where top secret information was discussed. And he wrote the book, and a judge said he could face legal trouble because of all the stuff that he included in the book. He was so brazen. He went on TV, he promoted his book, and he talked about how he knew all this real top secret stuff, and he included it in the book. The book is going to be evidence. Not only that, he was, obviously we know that Joe Biden stole classified information and tried to use it in his book. We know Mike Pence did. And we know they accused Trump of stealing classified, which is absurd because Trump had the power to declassify it. John Bolton didn't. But here's where Bolton is different. He was hacked by the Iranians. So he literally transmitted classified information on his AOL account, and the Iranians hacked him. And he reported it, but didn't report that he had been sending classified information to friends and family members. We believe his wife and his daughter. And he was caught. He literally wrote in the emails that this was top secret stuff and there was more to come. And he wrote, shh, don't tell anyone, in an email on AOL, which was hacked by a foreign adversary. I'm not sure you get more guilty than that. And on top of that, we have John Bolton scolding Donald Trump for allegedly taking classified documents. Did Trump put them in a book? He stole this stuff so he could sell it, essentially, just like Biden. Biden, as we know, was reading classified information to his ghostwriter. This guy stole classified information with the explicit intent of using it in a book and profiting. He's almost 77 years old. If justice is done here, and I think it might be in this case, he's going to die in prison, and that's what he deserves. Let's get to some of John Bolton's analysis of Donald Trump's issues with classified documents. It's amazing. It's hard to believe he knew he did this. This investigation started under Joe Biden. They knew this clown stole classified documents and they were investigating, and they dropped it for political reasons. Obviously, Bolton became a real, a loud critic of Trump. So he was allowed to do his thing under Biden, but then Trump comes in. They knew they had him. They knew they had a case. They knew he was guilty, and they arrested him. And now you have all the MSNBC and CNN people say, oh, it's just retribution. You could call it what you want. You can't tell us he didn't do the crime. You can't make that case. And some people, there was a legal analyst on CNN, Ellie Honig, who generally, it takes the side of the Democrat or the anti-Trump side, who just admitted the guy's in it up to his eyeballs. He did the crime. He happens to be a Trump critic, a Trump hater. But how does that mitigate the charges here? It doesn't. He is guilty and he's going to jail. And if he gets a just sentence, he will spend the rest of his life in prison where he belongs. Here he is talking about, Trump stealing classified documents and keeping them at Mar-a-Lago. Here's Bolton.
Read the indictment, which I don't think many people have done. It's really a masterful piece of work, in my view. It is devastating, and it really should be the end of Trump's political career, let alone the beginning of his jail time. Ultimately, I think people will see this behavior by Trump was a serious threat to national security.
A serious threat to national security. That's just one. He's done 1,000 interviews like this, and he knew what he did. At this point, he knew when they raided Mar-a-Lago, August 8th, 2022, he knew what he'd done, didn't stop him. He's like so many others. His judgment is clouded by Trump hatred. He's in a perpetual state of seething with hatred for Trump, and it causes him to not think straight. It's the same with Letitia James Comey. That's what these people are all guilty of. They lose their minds because they hate Trump so much. Their judgment is completely twisted because their whole day, their whole life, their whole existence is based on hating Trump. That's why these indictments are so great. He wasn't just out there selling a book or promoting himself. He was out there full time hating Trump, trying to stop Trump. And he failed, and he must have known on November 5th last year that he was in deep trouble. Didn't stop him from going out there and attacking Trump. Here's more from Bolton.
Well, I think it's a devastating indictment. It's very powerful in the way that it's portrayed, but it's also very narrow, very targeted. The government didn't throw everything in the kitchen sink at the wall. It has focused this in a way that I think, as a matter of law, is going to be very difficult for the president to resist. I think the real question is the question of timing and scheduling. If Donald Trump were an honest man, if he were an innocent man, he'd be saying, I want the trial within 30 days. I want this cloud removed from over my head. I want this stain on my reputation removed. So we'll wait and see what Donald Trump does. I think he'll try and postpone it to after the 2024 election. So my suggestion to Jack Smith and the Justice Department is go lean on the Manhattan District Attorney and get him to move his trial until after the election. This trial should take precedence. We'll find out whether Alvin Bragg is a real prosecutor or a political hack. The answer to their complaint about a double standard, the question they should be asked, is even though Biden has escaped scot-free, Clinton has escaped scot-free, fill in the blank has escaped scot-free, is the answer to the double standard to let Donald Trump escape scot-free? Is the answer to the double standard to revert to no standard at all? I think that's wrong.
Yeah, me too. We don't want a double standard. We want everyone prosecuted. By the way, you know who else was guilty of stealing, of taking classified documents? Oh, I don't know, Julian Assange, Chelsea Manning, Edward Snowden. You know what this guy, John Bolton, said the just punishment for them, for Assange, Chelsea Manning, Edward Snowden? Death. He wanted them executed. He wanted Edward Snowden to swing from a tree. He wanted them executed for stealing classified documents. I hope that's introduced into evidence, because this guy, I mean, he knows as he shows up today, he knows he did it. He knows he's guilty. He just figured, they let Clinton go, they let Biden slide. They'll let me slide. And he knows that the media will have his back, but it doesn't matter. Again, look at the merits of the case. Look at the indictment. It is so damning. He is so guilty, and he is going down. And I'm going to enjoy it. Who's next? It was a good start. Comey, Letitia, Big Tish, and then Bolton. Hopefully, Brennan, Clapper, Obama are next. Because these people were sloppy. They were careless. Why? Because they just figured, I'm a Democrat. I'm a Trump hater. We don't get indicted. Look at Hillary Clinton, 33,000 classified emails, and she destroyed the evidence. It was a classic case of obstruction. No indictment, no arrest. Not going to happen to me. I'm in with the deep state. I'm in with the swamp. They're not going to do anything to me. Oh, yes, they are. You, sir, are in big, big trouble. All right. Speaking of trouble, tomorrow's the big day. The No Kings protests will be taking place everywhere. I mean, literally everywhere. 2,500 locations across the country. Every state, every big city, they're going to be out there calling Trump a king and a dictator and a fascist, which it's kind of absurd. It's kind of comical when you think about it. If you were a king, would you get to hold a protest calling him a king? If you were a fascist, would he allow this? Would he allow mass protests, violent protests? It's going to get violent. It's going to get ugly, because that's what Democrats do at this point. They're the party of violence. They resort to violence. They will be infiltrated by Antifa. We know that. There are people who want to get arrested, who want to protect illegal alien criminals above all else. And they're like children. When you tell a kid, use your words, they're not interested in using their words. They want to use violence. They want to use their fists. They want to use guns, perhaps. Before we get to Don Lemon, I want to get to, let me get her name again, Bethany Abigail Terrell. This is your typical Democrat foot soldier, your street animal. This was in Malden, Massachusetts the other day. She owns a hair salon. I'm not sure which hair salon, but hopefully people are not patronizing it. And she gets arrested for threatening ICE agents. Again, ICE agents. Before we do that, let's go through what ICE has accomplished in the last couple of months in Massachusetts. So they have this operation called Patriot 2.0. This was a DOJ operation to arrest and remove illegal alien criminals from the state of Massachusetts against the wishes of every single elected Democrat. We've gone over some of the arrests. We're talking the worst of the worst: drug dealers, murderers, many child predators, sexual deviants who've attacked children. ICE goes in, gets them out, makes the neighborhood safer, and every single elected Democrat tried to stop them. They want your neighborhood filled with sexual predators. That's the new Democrat policy. Let our sexual predators go. Let them stay. We want them here. That's the position of the governor, the mayor of Boston. Every elected official in the state fought them, but didn't stop them. They arrested 1,400 illegal alien criminals and removed them from Massachusetts. This state is much safer now, thanks to Donald Trump, Tom Homan, Pam Bondi, Kash Patel. They did an amazing job. They get no credit. Hell, they get the opposite of credit. Do you have the numbers of Operation Patriot 2.0? Let me get those up because it is pretty amazing. We should all, this is something we should all agree on. It's hard to believe that people are against this. Here it is. ICE arrested 1,400 illegals across Massachusetts. Arrests include murderers, rapists, drug traffickers, child sex predators, and members of violent gangs. And here we have pictures of them arresting these illegal alien monsters, these deviants. And they did it all with no cooperation from the cops, from the mayor, from the governor. Truly is incredible. And we salute them. We take our hats off. And they did it with people like 37-year-old Bethany Abigail Terrell trying to stop them. She was arrested. Here's what she did. According to investigators, Terrell approached the agents, quote, screaming at and pushing through the agents to capture video on her phone. She said, ICE is here, ICE is here. You guys are monsters. This is insane. And then she tried to help the criminals escape. She yelled, Charlie Kirk died and we love it. We're coming for you. We're going to kill you. This is the 37-year-old hairdresser in Malden telling agents, we're going to kill you. So she was arrested. Let me get the charges. She was verbally abusive and attempted to interfere with the agents. But here's the thing. The agents wanted her detained, obviously jailed. Obviously, she's a danger. Obviously, she'll be front row center at the No Kings debate. She has no record of criminal violence, so she was ordered released on certain conditions, including that she stay away from law enforcement officers and attend mental health appointments. If convicted, she faces a charge of 10 years in prison. She walked out of court. No bail. She's threatened to kill federal agents who, again, are arresting sexual deviants and murderers and rapists and drug dealers. And she threatened to kill them. And she said, it's great that Charlie Kirk is dead. And she walks out of jail and walks out of court. No bail, no. Her only condition is stay away from the ICE guys you want to kill. Here's the local report of our lovely neighbor here in Massachusetts, Bethany Terrell, with the forehead tat. Go ahead.
Judge seemed to think about it for a while, but in the end, he decided to release this woman from jail while waiting for her court case to go forward. She's 37 years old. Her name is Bethany Terrell. She left the courthouse a short time ago without making any comment to reporters. Prosecutors say late last month, Terrell was outside the state courthouse in Malden. That's where ICE agents were taking a person into custody. Now, the prosecutors say Terrell repeatedly bumped into the agents and called them Nazis. At one point, they say she referred to the recently murdered political activist Charlie Kirk, allegedly saying, quote, Charlie Kirk died and we love it. We're coming for you, gonna kill you. Prosecutors say the incident was captured by the agent's body cameras and by Terrell herself, who was filming it with her cell phone. Prosecutors wanted Terrell to remain locked up in jail, saying that would help deter other people from making similar threats. But the judge released her on conditions, including that she stay away from all law enforcement officials and have regular mental health appointments. Terrell owns a hair salon in Malden. If convicted on this charge, she faces up to 10 years in prison. Live in South Boston, David Beanick, WCBB News Center 5. Judge.
Google that for me, Ironhead. I want to know what hair salon Bethany Terrell owns and who would go to her. She's such a ugly person. I mean, forget the way she looks. She's got a tattoo on her forehead and covered in tats. And she wants to kill ICE agents. And she walks out of court and she'll be there tomorrow on Boston Common. I have no doubt. I'll probably see her because pretty unique look there for that woman with the forehead tat, a hairstylist who is fighting to keep rapists in our community. Hard to believe, but that's the way that to me, this explains everything. Everyone gets Everyone goes off the handle at times. Everyone, loses their temper occasionally. These people live in a constant state of a temper tantrum, unable to control themselves. They can't control themselves. They hate Trump so much that everything Trump does causes them to just go off the rails and not think logically, not to think, what if this makes any sense at all. Yes, I'm going to get arrested trying to stop them from removing rapists from our community. They don't stop and think that. If they did, they'd say, this is nuts. It's one thing to hold a sign and get out there and campaign against someone like Trump, but to actually attack agents and threaten to kill them, they don't think that there's any accountability, because there usually isn't, and there won't be in this case because it's Massachusetts, but they can't help themselves. What you're going to see tomorrow is millions of petulant children throwing a tantrum, talking about fascism and Nazi and all that nonsense. They're not going to make any sense. They're not going to be able to, articulate their case like Charlie Kirk did, have a debate. They're just going to throw a tantrum. You see all these interviews, these, people with the cell phones, and every one of the protesters will just scream, Nazi, fascist, king, and they won't actually make a case. Why do we want rapists who don't belong in this country to remain in our communities? Why? Could you explain that, lady? Could you tell us why? Oh, there was some innocent person who was snapped up. I watched a segment on CNN where they went off on ICE and Holman and Bondi because they allegedly, I don't believe it, but they said 170 American citizens have been detained by ICE. Just say that's true. Just say they made mistakes. Well, they arrested them and they found out they were citizens and they released them. So what? You know whose fault that is? Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, the Democrats. When you let 15 million illegal aliens into the country and the next administration has a mandate to remove them, they're not going to get it right every time. They're going to make mistakes. And when they do, they'll release them. Oh, they detained them. Oh, for 2 hours. Oh, they confirmed they're Americans. They released them. So what? That's Biden's fault. That's your fault, Democrats. You let 15 million in. The job now is to remove them. They're not going to be perfect. They can't be perfect. Of course, they're going to make mistakes, but they correct them. And if they indeed arrested an innocent American and sent him to CCOT, you would hear about it all day. That's all they talk about. They have been remarkably efficient so far. They have not arrested Americans. They've not handcuffed, zip-tied children. That's a myth. They did not pepper spray innocent people. That's a lie. What they've done has been remarkably effective and efficient. But Democrats are encouraging them to, illegal aliens and their supporters, to fight back, to get violent. This is remarkable from Don Lemon. Once again, Don Lemon, of course, is just, he's Keith Oldman now. He's totally deranged. He was a host on a cable news network for 10 years in primetime. And now that he was fired and he's doing his own thing, he's showing his true colors, and he is an absolute lunatic. Here he is yesterday encouraging illegal aliens and their supporters to strap up, baby, to get guns to fight back against this tyrannical government. I don't know the specific charge, but this has to be a crime. This has to be inciting violence. Listen to this absolute maniac, Don Lemon.
Black people, brown people of all stripes, whether you're an Indian American or a Mexican American or whoever you are, go out in your place where you live and get a gun legally, get a license to carry legally. Because when you have people knocking on your door and taking you away without due process as a citizen, isn't that what the Second Amendment was written for? Go back and read what the Second Amendment says. And perhaps it will knock some sense in the heads of these people who are saying, well, it's all great. I don't believe they're doing it without due process. They're asking people for papers. They're not really beating people up. These people are doing things that are illegal. Nobody is illegal. It is a misdemeanor to cross the border.
He's so stupid. Nobody's illegal. It's a misdemeanor. Don, I thought we went over this the other day with you. Misdemeanors are crimes. Misdemeanors are illegal. Illegal aliens are illegal, but his solution is get a gun, defend yourself. I mean, he literally is saying shoot ICE when they come to your house. He's pretty explicit about that. I hope they at least pay him a visit because he is out of control. He's just so dumb. Illegal aliens, by the way, it's a felony when you come back into the country after you've been deported, which is the case with a lot of these hardened criminals. They've come back 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 times. Every time they do it, it's a felony. And even if it's a misdemeanor, that's a crime, stupid. And you can be, and you should be deported. And it's going to get worse because let's be honest, they've done a great job. So far, they've deported, I don't know, 1 million people. They have so many more to go, and they're not slowing down, and they're not stopping. And you're just going to have to accept it, Don. You're going to have to understand that this is what we voted for. You lost. We won. Now it's time for accountability and justice. I hope they do investigate Don Lemon because he's so dumb. He won't be able to handle it. He'll flip out on camera, and that's always fun. All right, they were also, as part of this CNN show I was watching, they were just going off on Caroline Leavitt, who has done a spectacular job. Again, I had my doubts when Trump picked her to be his spokeswoman because she is so young and inexperienced. She has been so good. Every day I enjoy the way she handles the fake news. So she goes and she did, hell, what I do every day, describes the base of the Democrat Party. They're the small minority that controls the Democrat Party at this point. And we know it. We see it. I mean, we know why the government's shut down because of AOC and the squad and the radical left and Bernie. And they are pressuring Chuck Schumer. They don't want to negotiate. They are extremists, and they are taking desperate measures, including shutting down the government till they get their way. And their way includes Medicaid for illegal aliens. That's what they're demanding before they can reopen the government. Anyway, and they control everything. I mean, we see that lunatic with the forehead tattoo, Bethany Terrell. That's your typical Democrat foot soldier at this point. They're the one driving the agenda. They're the ones fighting on the front lines against law and order. And Caroline Leavitt just states the obvious. That's who that they make up the base of the Democrat Party. And this sent all the fake news, CNN, MSNBC, off the rails because they can't face reality. They are being controlled by lunatics, by extremists. But that's the problem right now. And we're going to see it on full display tomorrow. But here's Caroline Leavitt telling you who controls the Democrat Party. Go ahead.
Proved that the Democrat Party's main constituency are made up of Hamas terrorists, illegal aliens, and violent criminals. That is who the Democrat Party is catering to, not the Trump administration and not the White House and not the Republican Party, who is standing up for law-abiding Americans, not just across the country, but around the world. And they're very upset because, this is name calling and labeling and disparaging Democrats. Can I remind you that we've spent, 5-6 years calling Trump a Nazi, a fascist, a dictator, saying, Caroline Leavitt, she's a spokesman for a Nazi, a fascist, a dictator. It's just so convenient that we don't want to name call when it's coming from the other side. How dare this Nazi label Democrats Hamas supporters and illegal aliens. Well, think about it. You have a Hamas supporters about to be mayor of New York City. You have millions of people who are going to spend their Saturday kicking and screaming and yelling and fighting
to protect illegal aliens. That's where we are right now in this country, and we're going to see it tomorrow, and it's going to be wild. All right, do we have time to do Belichick? Here's what I'm going to say about Bill Belichick. A secretly recorded video was released by Pablo Torres, who's been all over this. Can't stand Pablo Torres, but I got to say this is pretty interesting. It is going to get so much worse for Bill Belichick before it gets better, because I think tonight, let me get the, tonight he's at California, UNC. They're they're 8.5 point underdogs as of right now, Ironhead. They are struggling mightily, and it ain't going to get any better. His schedule, his team stinks. They've obviously been blown out 3 times. They're 2-3, I believe. And let's see. Yeah, you got Cal, and then Syracuse, Virginia, who is ranked 18th. They could go, 3-9 or 3-8, whatever it is. It's going to get so much worse. And this is not really important, but it's embarrassing. They have this hidden camera where his girlfriend, Jordan Hudson, is taking control of this meeting among coaches as they, study film. And she's like in complete control, and he just goes along. It is just so humiliating. I mean, the man is the greatest coach in NFL history, and he's being led around by the ring in his nose by a 24-year-old beauty queen. Here's just a sample of this cringy video.
Oh, that looks great. Oh, that's awesome.
Let's go back. Okay. Thanks, Tony. Yep. All right.
We should have Tony build the set.
No kidding. Thank you for helping solve this really problem.
You should send him one of those texts, like even when I'm working, even when I'm with somebody else, I'm thinking of you. I was thinking of you the whole time. You want something? We should get Tony in here.
You're very much.
He would make this place better than what it is, I'll tell you that.
On like a really serious note, on some of the things that we want to have mounted and whatnot. I mean, there's some things that fall through the cracks, but for the most part, everything is actually really well done.
So we'll figure it out.
You don't have to give Tony every single little detail for him to figure it out.
That's right.
I don't know how they have 4 full-time graphics people.
Thank you.
Right. Over an iron.
Can't do this.
Thing. That's what Matt and I were just talking about. Some of these.
He's whispering. God, this is bad.
The cameramen have headphones on listening to this in real time. You know that, right?
Who is?
The sound people have headphones on listening to this. Guaranteed.
Yeah, and somebody's out to get him. I said for years, for decades, that Belichick can be Belichick as long as he wins. You can be ornery. You can dump all over the media. You can just give no one anything. As long as you win. And he did. He won year in and year out. He won title. He won Super Bowls. And his approach was fine. You can do that. But when you lose, all the people that don't like you, all your enemies and adversaries, they come out of the woodwork and they just pounce because you are in a really tough spot. And there are a lot of people in this country enjoying it. Yet today at 10:30 p.m. at Cal, big underdogs, and then host Virginia, nationally ranked, and then at Syracuse, and then Stanford, Wake Forest, Duke, and NC State. He is in for a rough ride. And you know what? If he can turn this around, it'll be the greatest coaching job he's ever done, because he doesn't have the talent. He is struggling badly, and it looks like it's going to get worse. But imagine if he does start winning. That'll be incredible. I don't think he will. And I don't know how much longer he's going to last, but man, what a mistake to go back to college. Right now, he'd be a candidate for 6 jobs in the NFL. I know he didn't get the job he wanted in Atlanta, but he would get a job in the NFL if he waited, but he couldn't wait. And now he's out of his element in college football. and it looks like it's going to get much worse before it gets better. But all right, that will do it for today, this Friday, October 17th. Zelensky is at the White House as we speak. Maybe his next move is ending that war, which will be incredible. He should do it today. And then tomorrow, all the no kings lunatics will be out calling him a dictator. But I'm gonna show up. I'll bring my phone, I'll bring my camera, I'll show up at the No Kings in Boston, which is going to be big, it's going to be wild, and it's going to be violent, at least in some places. I don't know about here, but it'll be violent, it'll be ugly, and it will be, once again, Democrats showing their true colors. But it's not going to be pretty. But that will do it for today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'm Gerry Callahan. This is The Callahan Show, and we will do it again Monday morning.
I didn't say it's on one side, but I say the radical left causes tremendous violence, and they seem to do it in a bigger way. But the radical left really is caused a lot of problems for this country. I really think they hate our country.